Today, we're going to break down a really powerful new framework that might just change how you think about your job, your team, and honestly, your own sanity at work. It's called the Executive Alignment Trident.
Okay, let's just start with a question that I bet hits home for pretty much everyone. Have you ever been in a meeting or a one-on-one or even just trying to fight with some piece of software at work, and you just think, what is the point? You know that feeling, right? Like you're just spinning your wheels, putting all this energy in, and getting absolutely nothing back.
Well, here's the big idea. What if the problem isn't you, or your boss, or that annoying coworker? What if the problem is the system? The mental maps we're all using to get through our workdays are just old. They are fundamentally out of date for how we actually work today.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll nail down this new workplace problem. Then, we'll introduce the alignment trident itself. We're going to dive deep into its three executive states, understand how we flow between them, see what this all means for the future of hierarchy, and, most importantly, how you can start taking control of your own alignment.
All right, part one, the new workplace problem. Look, the old theories about how organizations work were designed for a much simpler time. Basically just people talking to other people. But that's not our world anymore, is it? We delegate work to AI. We get feedback from algorithms. Think about how a platform ranks your post or a performance tool gives you a score. Our old rule books just weren't written for this game.
And that brings us to the tool for this new reality, the Executive Alignment Trident. You should think of it as a new mental model, a framework that helps you make sense of this new, complex world. It gives you a way to decide consciously when to engage, when to push back, and when to just stop trying.
Okay, now we're getting to the absolute core of this model. The Trident says that every single interaction you have at work, whether it's with a person, an AI, or a platform, falls into one of three executive states: AIA, PESR, or LZAG. And a key thing to get is that these aren't emotions. They're more like operating modes for your brain.
So first up is AIA, which stands for Aligned Instrumental Engagement. This is the goal. This is the good stuff. It's that feeling of being in the flow, where the channel you're using, whether it's a super competent colleague or a really well-designed app, is just working. You put work in, and you get more out. It's efficient, it's effective, it just clicks.
And the internal monologue, or what the framework calls the executive posture, is really confident and simple. It's just, this channel executes meaning and intent accurately. I will route through it. It's a green light. You trust it, so you use it. Simple as that.
And you can see how this plays out everywhere. Between people, AI is just smooth, easy collaboration. You and your teammate are just in sync. With an AI, it's using it to quickly draft an email. And when a system gives you feedback, you don't take it personally, you just see it as useful data. In this state, everything is so functional that you don't even think about hierarchy.
But then we get to the second state, and this one is the danger zone. It's called PSR. Platform Encoded Status Reflex. This is what happens when a totally neutral channel, a conversation, a tool, suddenly feels like a test. It gets twisted into a performance, a place where you feel like you're being judged, and its original purpose gets totally lost in all that status anxiety.
And just listen to how that internal voice changes completely. It goes from confidence to anxiety. Now it's, this channel now judges me. I must stabilize identity through it. See the shift? You stop focusing on the work and start focusing on how you're being perceived.
And you can just feel the damage this does, right? Human conversations turn into subtle competitions. Software platforms feel less like tools and more like courts where your credibility is on trial. And suddenly, metrics from an algorithm feel like a punishment. Honestly, this state is probably the source of most of the anxiety in the modern workplace.
And all that anxiety and frustration leads us to the final state, LZAG, Learned Zero Affording Skating. Now this is really important. This is not just quiet quitting or being passive-aggressive. It's a logical, calculated decision. You've learned over and over that a certain channel, a weekly meeting, a specific person, a clunky system, gives you nothing back. It's a black hole for your energy. So you make a conscious choice to stop sending energy that way. The executive posture here is totally different again. It's not angry or emotional, it's just decisive. It's a statement of fact. This channel has converged to zero throughput, routing disabled. You're basically flipping a circuit breaker in your brain to save power for things that actually matter. So, what does this actually look like day to day? Well, with a person, you might still be perfectly polite, but the conversations become purely transactional. You've stopped trying to build or create anything meaningful with them. You stop using certain apps for creative work because you know they'll just frustrate you. You learn to just mentally tune out useless notifications or signals from some algorithm. It's not withdrawal, the framework would say it's just being smart with your resources.
Okay, so a key thing to get here is that these states aren't permanent. You're not an AIS person or a PESR person. These are outcomes. They're the result of a constant, dynamic loop of evaluation that your brain is running all the time, whether you know it or not.
And that process is actually pretty simple. It follows these 5 steps. You start with an expectation of how something will go, you delegate some energy or a task into that channel, you get some feedback. Based on that feedback, you update your mental model of that channel, and then you create a new routing policy for the future. Do more of that or do less of that. This little loop is always running, pushing every interaction you have towards AIA, PSR, or LZAG.
So what does this mean for the big picture? I mean, this is more than just a personal productivity hack. This model suggests we are on the verge of a massive fundamental shift in how power and hierarchy actually work.
First off, we have to completely ditch the idea of a corporate ladder. That's the old view. The new view is that hierarchy isn't a ladder, it's a routing table. Some channels, people, tools, amplify your efforts. Some distort them, and some are just dead ends. Your real job isn't climbing, it's becoming a master router of your own time and attention.
And that leads to the second huge shift. We used to think authority came from a title on an org chart. That's positional authority. The new view is context-conditional authority. You, or an AI, or a manager, only have real authority in a given moment if you are a proven, reliable AIA channel for that specific task. Authority has to be earned, constantly, by actually being effective.
Which brings us to the final and maybe most important part. This isn't just some interesting academic theory. It's a practical tool you can start using right now to make conscious choices about where you invest your professional energy. It's about governing your own alignment.
Let's just boil it all down one more time nice and simple. AIA is when you're delegating correctly. PSIR is when delegation gets corrupted by status anxiety. And LZAG is the wise, learned decision to not delegate, to stop wasting energy on a channel that has proven it's a dead end.
And look, the stakes here could not be higher. According to this way of thinking, the real difference between a company that thrives in the future and one that just collapses under its own bureaucracy won't be their tech stack or even their talent. It will be how well their people consciously manage these states of alignment. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. When you look at your own work life, your colleagues, your meetings, the software you have to use every day, which of those channels have you already, maybe without even realizing it, decided have converged to zero? It's a powerful question to ask,